how they are trying to cut back. Plus, we have tips on how to keep up on your sleep with daylight savings this weekend. And in sports, 3 high school basketball teams continue their quest for a championship. Newswatch starts right now. The city of Athens could put a pause on hiring as it tries to limit spending. Good evening, I'm Alex Mwali, and welcome to Newswatch. Now, the City Council's Finance and Personnel Committee is set to discuss a hiring freeze for all positions paid through the general fund. This comes as the city deals with higher than normal health insurance costs and the effects of inflation. Committee Chair Jeff Reisner says they need to get a handle on these excessive losses to the general fund now, before it's too late. Auditor Kathy Hecht says while the fund is fine now, if not managed, it will be well below where state auditors like to see it at the end of this year. This is not the first time that the city has taken this step. Reisner says the council has passed similar resolutions when faced with similar issues back in 2008 and 2016. Now, Ohio lawmakers from both parties are introducing a bill that would crack down on artificial intelligence. The proposal says anything generated by an AI program would need to include a watermark. If that watermark isn't included or it was removed, individual people and platforms would face civil liability. Senate Bill 217 also adds simulated obscene material to the state's definition of child pornography, making it a third-degree felony to create or distribute the artificially generated or altered material, and a fourth-degree felony to buy or possess it. The bill criminalizes using AI to alter someone's voice or likeness for malicious purposes as well. Now, Newswatch forecaster Emily Dietz is joining me now. Now, Emily, we've seen a pretty nice day, past couple days, even though we saw a little bit of rain today. But can we expect the same thing, or is it going to get a little colder this weekend?
Well, we're going to see a little bit of a shift this weekend, but I know I've really enjoyed seeing those plants start to bud on campus. I don't know about you, seeing some trees and bushes. What's your favorite part about spring?
Favorite part about spring? Honestly, I like the rain. That's my favorite part. So are we going to see that, or?
We definitely are. So we're going to start to see some showers tonight, but taking a look outside right now, those temperatures are still looking pretty nice outside. Athens is sitting about 62 degrees with Lancaster, Newark, and Columbus all at 57, Zanesville 58. So overall, pretty nice outside. Not too bad at all if you still want to get out and enjoy this weather, especially before that rain is coming in. We're also seeing some overcast skies here in Athens, and once again, a nice 62-degree temperature outside, and that humidity has gone up a little bit since we've had that drizzle outside, and we're expecting that to keep going up as we're seeing this rain system start to move in. Now, what's going on is we had this big low pressure system develop in the central U.S. along with this warm front that we're seeing currently passing over Ohio, which is why things have been a little bit warmer today than we've seen the past couple of hours or even past couple of days. And that's pulling in a lot of this moisture from the south. That's allowing a lot of this rain and a lot of these clouds to really merge. But behind that's going to be a cold front. But in the meantime, we're still focused on that rain. Now, over the course of the day today, a lot of this rain started moving from the south to north direction. But as these winds start to shift and the system develops a little bit more, we're going to expect to see the system shift more from a west to an east standpoint. So we're going to see a lot more rain start to come up this evening than the little drizzle that we got earlier today. So tonight we'll see that overnight low of 50 degrees and that 90% chance of rain starting in the evening hours. Be sure to stay tuned for my full forecast. We're going to look at just how much rain we're expecting to get down here in Southeast Ohio.
Thanks, Emily. We'll talk to you soon. But now it's time to spring forward. This Sunday, we'll be losing 1 hour, and research shows that time change is linked to heart attacks, strokes, and car accidents. Mandy Gaither has tips for preparing ahead of the daylight saving time change.
Here comes the sun. Starting Sunday, March 10th at 2 a.m., spring your clock forward an hour, but don't let the time change stop you from getting those Z's.
Most of us do not get enough sleep. And even a 1 hour of sleep loss can be devastating.
Dr. Nancy Foldberry-Schaefer with Cleveland Clinic Sleep Disorder Center says most adults should be getting between 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep each night, but many already struggle with chronic sleep deprivation, and it can hurt their health.
These kinds of sleep deficiencies can lead to diabetes and obesity, metabolic disorders, as well as brain health.
Prepare now for the time change by going to bed 15 minutes early each night leading up to it. Next, get some light exposure when you wake.
In the morning, light is very stimulating. It's wake promoting. It enhances mood and physical activity.
Finally, avoid things that can take a toll on sleep. That includes caffeine and alcohol in the afternoon and evening. Add in things that promote sleepiness, like exercise earlier in the day. And if you're having significant sleep problems, reach out for help.
I would say after a few months of sleep disturbance, or if there's a significant sleep disturbance, even sooner, talk to your doctor.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
A union representing workers at 38 Kroger locations across Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia now has a tentative agreement with the retail company. The agreement raises starting wages to $13 per hour and provides wage increases up to $2.50 per hour for department leaders. If the agreement is officially reached, there will also be no health care contribution increases for the life of the contract. The union plans to hold a ratification vote on the agreement next week. Now, District 10 of the Ohio Department of Transportation is holding an open house next week discussing safety improvements on Route 33 in Hocking County. According to ODOT, the study's primary goal is to reduce the frequency and severity of crashes along the highway. The proposed options range from no change at all to a complete realignment of US 33. The meeting will take place on Tuesday, March 12th from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. at Hocking Hills Church of Christ on Chieftain Drive in Logan. Coming up, what to know from last night's State of the Union address as the president gears up for the campaign trail. And we'll tell you why Congress is demanding documents from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
We're kicking Saturday off with a rainy start to your weekend. Be sure to stay tuned to Newswatch to find out just how much rain we're expecting from the system moving through.
Do you know there are more than 2,700 rules that govern your Social Security benefits?
In Social Security and You, expert Mary Beth Franklin leads you through the Social Security labyrinth.
Deciding when and how to claim benefits can have a major impact on your retirement income for the rest of your life.
Social Security and You, the user's guide we've all been waiting for.
Tonight at 11 on WOUB.
We all want to know the best way to reduce our risk of being diagnosed with Alzheimer's, improve our memory, and keep our brains sharp. Luckily, there's good news. Science shows that engaging in lifelong learning can have a significant positive impact on our brain health. Please join best-selling author and Harvard-trained neuroscientist Dr. Lisa Genova for Supercharge Your Brain.
Saturday at 10 on WOUB.
We're creating a mixed income community. Being low income shouldn't bar you from experiencing a higher quality of life.
I have grown up in a journalism environment where I was frequently the only woman in the room.
At some point, a row of trees went in.
I feel segregated. They were planted to hide this community.
We live in a virtual reality world. Everybody everywhere knows what's going on. So people are aware that there's a problem here.
I wanted her story told, and I felt good that I was the one that was able to tell it.
I know how to do other things to survive.
Rise up and say, you know what? Enough is enough.
Around the world, women and girls continue to face rank discrimination and gross human rights violations and abuses. A persistent epidemic of gender-based violence disgraces humanity.
UN General Secretary Antonio Guterres delivering remarks as the world celebrates International Women's Day. Guterres says global crises across the world are, quote, hitting women the hardest. The day is intended to celebrate the achievements of women and support action against gender inequality. You can keep on celebrating for the rest of March too, as it's also National Women's History Month. Now, President Joe Biden is trying to maintain steam after delivering his third State of the Union address last night. Though he didn't say his challenger's name, Biden drew contrast between himself and former President Donald Trump, the presumed Republican nominee. Washington correspondent Julia Benbrook shows us what's next for both candidates in the new phase of the campaign.
President Joe Biden mentioned his predecessor more than a dozen times during his State of the Union address Thursday night.
Now my predecessor, a former Republican president, my predecessor, meanwhile, my predecessor.
During his speech, Biden pushed for abortion rights, gun safety legislation, and immigration reform. He called out Republicans for refusing to take up the bipartisan border security bill after former President Donald Trump urged them not to pass it.
And if my predecessor is watching, instead of paying politics and pressuring members of Congress to block the bill, join me in telling the Congress to pass it. We can do it together.
Biden's address served as an unofficial kickoff for the general election that is still 8 months away. The president travels to the battleground state of Pennsylvania for a campaign event on Friday as he prepares to take on Trump, who is pushing back against Biden's message.
We cannot take it any longer as a country.
This as the Republican National Committee faces a shakeup. Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel is stepping down.
It is a little bittersweet to be with all of you here today as I step down as chair after 7 years of working with you all.
McDaniel will be replaced with Trump's endorsed candidate, North Carolina GOP Chairman Michael Whatley, and the former president's daughter-in-law, Laura Trump, will serve as co-chair. Reporting in Washington, I'm Julia Benbrook.
As the president goes back on the campaign trail, he's hitting battleground states to promote his Bidenomics wins. His State of the Union speech last night was boosted by a positive February jobs report earlier today. Laura Aguirre breaks down the report and where future job creation may be focused.
15 million new jobs in just 3 years, a record, a record.
President Joe Biden highlighting a soaring labor market on his watch, with February job numbers out Friday morning that added fuel to that rocket.
Unemployment at 50-year lows.
The economy saw 275,000 new jobs hit the rolls last month, as tracked by the Labor Department, a number that topped analyst estimates by over 37%. And while the unemployment rate ticked up from 3.7 to 3.9%, February marks 25 consecutive months under 4%, the longest streak in more than half a century, says labor officials.
Real wages have gone up. They've been better than inflation.
Labor Department numbers did show that average hourly wages ticked up another 0.1% in February. Still, that lagged slightly behind what economists expected, and on an annual basis, wage growth has slowed over 4%.
Raise the federal minimum wage, because every worker has a right to a decent living more than $7 an hour.
The nation's aging infrastructure is proving ripe for new job creation.
We're fixing the bridges, the roads, investing in the internet.
Construction, transportation, warehousing, and retail, sectors that employed tens of thousands of new workers in the February report.
People without a college education are finally going to be able to get good jobs.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Oregon Governor Tina Kotek is signing a bill to recriminalize possession of certain drugs. It comes only months after Ohio passed Issue 2 and roughly 3 years after Oregon became the first in the nation to decriminalize possession and personal use of all drugs. Oregon voters decriminalized various hard drugs in a 2020 ballot initiative that took effect in 2021, relaxing certain penalties for drug possession. The new law will go into effect on September 1st, making possession of small amount of drugs such as fentanyl and heroin a misdemeanor, punishable by up to 6 months in jail. Opioid deaths in Oregon tripled between 2019 and 2022. The Congressional Committee investigating campus anti-Semitism is demanding the documents from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. The letter seeks a wide range of documents on how the school is protecting Jewish students. The school has until March 22nd to turn over the materials. Last week, a second-year graduate student at MIT told lawmakers the school has become overrun with toxic anti-Semitism. Meanwhile, MIT spokesperson Kimberly Allen detailed efforts that the school has taken to protect Jewish students. This winter was the warmest on record for the U.S., according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Records date back to the late 1800s. In fact, winter has become the fastest warming season for nearly 75% of the country. December was the full 7 degrees above average, and aside from a brutal cold spell in January, higher temperatures continued through the season. Now, February finished as the 3rd warmest on record. Lead forecaster Emily Dietz is back with me. Emily, do you think that we're going to come back for a warm March as well?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see 1 or 2 cold days here and there as per usual in March, but we're making that transition into spring. And so we're going to be seeing a little bit of warming going on and going to continue seeing those trends of it being the warmest on record. And we're seeing this not only in Athens, Ohio or central Ohio, but we're seeing it across the globe, these like warming patterns going on. But taking a look at what's going on right now is, even though we're seeing this warmer weather, that's really actually helping us out to see a lot of this rain that's beginning to develop. So what we have going on is we have a really well-developed warm front that's pushing a lot of this warm air up from the Gulf and producing a lot of this rain. So warm weather and those warm fronts is really it's going to be really inducive to a lot of the severe weather that we may be seeing in the future, as well as we push into the summer season. But in the meantime, we're looking at overcast skies, as well as a temperature outside of 62 and a bit of a higher humidity we've seen the past couple of days from that rain we had earlier today. Now, a lot of this weather, like I said before, is coming from this warm front that's going to be stretching across Ohio and actually just moved past, which is why we've seen a warmer evening than we were anticipating beforehand. And right behind it is we have this cold front that's going to come and clear everything out. But since that hasn't passed yet, we're still looking at a lot of this air being pulled up from the south that has a lot of moisture in it, and it's really allowing a lot of this rain to precipitate and a lot of this cloud formation to happen. Now, taking a look at that temperature map, you can really see a lot of that warm air coming up from the south, but here's that cold air pushing right behind it. We have a really nice line, and that's really going to help clear everything out of the way, since that cold air is just going to act as a big broom and just sweep everything off towards the east coast. But what's going on tonight is we're not going to see that cold front move through, so we're going to see an overnight of 50 degrees, so a bit on the warmer side of things. And we're also going to see a 90% chance of rain starting in the late evening hours, but really the bulk of that rain is going to happen tomorrow during the day, where we see that 100% chance of rain, and also a bit on the warmer side as well. We're going to see that high of 58, but with that cold front sweeping through, we're going to see a low of 30 degrees. Now, taking a quick look at our radar for tomorrow, we do see that rain start to move in during those early morning hours, late evening hours tonight and early morning all throughout the day Saturday. Take a little bit of a break during mid-afternoon time around 3 and 4, but then over the course of the evening, we're going to see a little bit of a drizzle start to come in as well. So tomorrow night, over the next 36 hours, that low pressure system is going to come right on through, and here's the bulk of that rain that you're seeing that's going to deposit about an inch of rain here in Athens. So if you have anywhere that floods really easily, expect some areas of localized flooding, but right behind that system, we're going to see things start to clear up. We do see a little bit of blue right along the edge of this cold front, and that's going to talk about a little bit of snow on Sunday ahead, but we're not expecting too many snow showers here, maybe just some flurries here in Athens with that high of 44 degrees. Now, going into Monday, things are going to be really clear. It's going to be really nice outside, and we're going to see a slow warm happen over the course of the week. So a nice sunny day on Monday. It'll be nice to get outside, may still need your jacket out, but a low of 33 degrees. So as we see those daytime temperatures start to warm, we're also going to see that overnight, because we have that high pressure that's allowing a lot of this daytime heating to occur. And Tuesday back up into the 60s, and then Thursday back into the 70s. So definitely going to be a warm week ahead for us after this cold, wet weekend.
Newswatch sports reporter Maddie Kiefer joins me. Maddie, it's International Women's Day. What can we look forward to this weekend in women's sports?
You know, I'm really glad you asked that, because there's a lot of great women's sports action going on around in this area this weekend. You know, it starts off with the women's basketball. They're traveling to Oxford to play Miami. And then, you know, our softball team is actually in South Carolina in the Beach Chicken Brawl. It's a hilarious name. They're playing a tournament down there. And then, of course, on the high school side, coming up in sports, women's basketball takes on Miami in the Battle of the Bricks rematch. That story when Newswatch returns. And for the latest from Newswatch, follow us on Instagram, X formerly Twitter, and YouTube.
The Pacific nation of Tonga
Suddenly was so massive.
the most explosive eruption ever recorded.
I accept it. We have 3 minutes left to live.
And the clock is still ticking.
Running away.
What generated that tsunami?
This is interaction with magma and water.
Could it happen again?
This is a turning point to how we understand the world.
Hidden Volcano Abyss on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
I'm gonna get started.
Come on.
Watch me.
These are your immigrant ancestors.
Wow.
What on earth? God, sorry.
You're alive.
I am!
Gospel music is soul.
Amen, brother.
This is amazing.
If you don't drive it, donate it and support something you use every day.
One more episode is all that's left, but don't worry, you still have plenty of action. The Trimble boys battle it out with South Webster, a rematch between the Lady Wildcats and Newark Catholic, and Federal Hawking takes on Leesburg Fairfield. But that's not all. We'll announce all of our end of season awards. You won't want to miss it. The hour-long season finale of Hardwood Heroes airs Sunday at 11 p.m. and Monday at 6 p.m. And as always, we're reminding you to be heroic.
Welcome back. I'm Maddie Kiefer with sports. The Ohio Bobcats baseball team had a doubleheader today at Bob Wren Stadium to begin conference play. Northern Illinois got out to a 3-0 lead going into the bottom of the second, but the Bobcats clawed back, scoring 4 runs in the second and third inning. The Huskies scored 1 more, and it was a showdown going into the ninth when both teams scored to tie it up for extra innings. Unfortunately, Ohio gave up 2 runs in the 11th and couldn't respond, dropping this game 6-8. In the second game of the doubleheader, Ohio came away with a 4-1 victory. Moving to Ohio softball, the Bobcats are currently in Conway, South Carolina for the Beach Chicken Brawl, where they took on Boston University and Coastal Carolina. In Ohio's first game against the Terriers, they came out strong, scoring the first run of the game, but the Terriers put their foot on the gas in the third, and the Bobcats could not catch up, dropping this one 2-5. In its second game of the day, Ohio faced off against Coastal Carolina, where they ended up losing 3-4. Moving over to the hardwood, it's time for a Battle of the Bricks rematch. Ohio took the first meeting of the Battle of the Bricks 78-69 back on February 3rd in the Convo. The Bobcats have won 5 in a row and remain red hot. This time, it's in the Red Hawks' house, and they are coming off of a loss to the Toledo Rockets on Tuesday. This will be the last regular season game for Ohio as they look forward to the MAC tournament, which begins on March 14th. As for Ohio women's basketball, it also wraps up the regular season with the Battle of the Bricks tomorrow. The Bobcats took the previous meeting with the Red Hawks back on January 27th in the Convo. Ohio is coming off a 72-63 victory over Akron, which was its first road win since January 24th. The Red Hawks have dropped 3 straight games, and for the Bobcats, they have won 3 straight and are looking to continue their momentum before the MAC tournament, which begins on March 13th. Sticking to the court on the high school level, there are still 3 teams in the running for a state title. For the boys, the Trimble Tomcats are currently in a battle with the South Webster Jeeps. To tune into this battle, head over to the Convo to see how it ends. Another boys game that will be taking place tonight at 8:15 is the Federal Hawking Lancers versus the Fairfield Lions. In this one, Lancer superstars Tarek Cottrell and Andrew Earhart will try to continue their dominance. The dominant Waterford girls got it done last night against Newark Catholic, winning 53-42. The Wildcat stars Kendall Surrey and Avery Wagner shined against a team that beat them 62-61 in January. Waterford will play again tomorrow in the Convo, where they will play the Hillen Hawks at 7 p.m. The winner of this game will punch their ticket to the state Final Four.
Thanks, Maddie. Still ahead, how one woman is inspiring women in sports by running in Antarctica. But first, here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
Over thousands of years, humans and horses have forged a special bond and a unique partnership.
When you get that relationship with a horse, sky is the limit of what you can do.
From the frigid Arctic to the hottest desert, discover what makes horses and humans so perfect for each other.
Without them, we wouldn't be here.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
On Finding Your Roots, actors Pamela Adlon
I'm so curious.
and Katherine Hahn.
They went to a new world.
Family history reveals secrets
What? How do you know that?
and scandal.
Do you think they kept all of this a secret from everyone?
Isn't that nuts?
Plus, a DNA match.
What? That's so cool.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
In hospital, you deal with cases. On the district, you deal with people. When mothers come to us, they bring everything they are with them.
There's nothing nicer than a fresh start.
You have done your best. Sometimes our best must be enough.
We're gonna take good care of you. We're with you now.
Cool the Midwife premieres March 17th on PBS and the PBS app.
Finally tonight, 10,000 steps in a day might be good enough for the average person, but not Donna Urquhart. She just finished 871 miles in 28 days in a bitter cold climate. The Australian is an ultra-marathon runner who just set the new Guinness World Record for the longest polar ultra-marathon. Urquhart ran 30 miles per day in below zero temperatures and gusty winds during her quest, which she calls Run Antarctica. Urquhart says the goal of Run Antarctica is to help embolden women to get more into sports. Now, I don't know about you guys. Apparently it was the warmest winter here in the U.S. and I didn't run at all. I can't imagine what it's like to run in Antarctica. That's too cold. I don't know.
No, I totally agree. I mean, they're talking about sub-zero temperatures, and like you said, I can barely get outside. I'll be like, oh, it's 78, one cloud in the sky. Oh, it might rain. Guess I better go inside.
Respect to her, though.
Exactly. Congratulations to her, and fortunately for us, we're not going to be seeing any temperatures similar to Antarctica at all in the next couple of days, or hopefully ever, because that would be very, very cold. But in the meantime, tonight it's going to be an overnight low of 50 degrees with a 90% chance of rain. So if you are looking for a late night run and you like some cooler weather, you are in luck. However, it may be a little rainy out when you head out, especially if you go in the late evening. But in the meantime, tomorrow is looking like a very rainy day. We have a big low pressure system moving through with that warm front that's sitting over us right now, really allowing a lot of those clouds and a lot of that rain to really form up before it hits Ohio tomorrow. And then right behind that, we have a cold front. So tomorrow we're going to see that high of 58 degrees, 100% chance of rain, and that's going to go through about midday, a little after around 2, 3 in the afternoon. It's going to stop for a little bit and then get a little drizzly again tomorrow night, but that's when that cold front's going to move through, and we're going to see that low of 30 degrees. And so Sunday, we're just going to see the remains of that system, a couple clouds, possible snow flurries if you live northern Ohio, but for the most part, things are going to start warming up later this week. Monday, we're going to see a high of 54, and by the end of the week, we're looking at a high in the 70s. So I'm very excited for this week to play out. It's going to be nice. It's going to be sunny outside. Great day to get out, great week to get outside and go for a run.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Maddie Kiefer and Emily Dietz, I'm Alex Imwali. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour, and coming up next, Newswatch will be on break next week and we'll be back on March 18th. In the meantime, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. And follow us on social media and have a great weekend.
Support comes from Goldsberry Wealth Strategies.